We're going to move now to the two Alberta-based ISPs. First is Graham Fletcher from the Internet Centre. Graham and the Internet Centre were the first people to provide commercial internet in Alberta, and is at this time the largest non-telco based ISP in Alberta. Graham, you're on.
Thanks, Craig. If you caught my act at the roundtable in Calgary last time, this will be a little more subdued, but still as vociferous as ever, because I passionately believe in some of the things that I'm about to talk about that are in complete opposition to what we're hearing from our good friends at TELUS, who happen to be a very good supplier of ours. Anyways, I hear that we can't quite see my screens. I hate PowerPoint presentations where the speaker actually has to repeat what everybody can read on the screen, but apparently not everybody else can see it. So title of my piece here, Unloaded Copper and SuperNet still not available, but we're working on it. And believe me, we are. And I first of all want to say that we're really pleased to be doing other parts of SuperNet connectivity as well. We are actually working with the ICANN group and with ClickSite to roll out, for instance, video conferencing in high definition around the province. We have an agreement to basically roll out around 125 to 150 places for Alberta Volunteer, the other two partners in ICANN to produce true high definition 30 frames a second televideo conferencing. So it will work now under just around a megabit per second. It's stunning, it's fun to work with, and we love it. And the other thing is that we can also produce this. If we had access to unloaded copper, we could connect tens of thousands of Albertans at high definition televideo conferencing if we had access to unloaded copper. So let me tell you a little bit about unloaded copper. It's the best way to connect to SuperNet in most areas. It has fiber-like qualities, cheap, fast, ubiquitous, reliable, and easily and profitably installed by TELUS subcontractors. We know it's profitable for TELUS because it is a CRTC regulated product in Ontario and Quebec, and also it is available throughout North America. Alberta and BC are unique in not having access to unloaded copper. It's just not available here. Used to be. So when we're talking about fast, we can actually now run up to 200 megabits per second over regular copper. In fact, in Ethernet, right, runs a gigabit per second. All we're doing is stretching that Ethernet 4 kilometers, and we can start to see now, and there's a company in Calgary that's actually testing this, up to 200 megabits per second in fiber-like quality for $20 a month cable. It's unbelievable. So when people say we have to go to fiber, I say emphatically not. Fiber's great. It's good. It doesn't last as long as copper. Copper we have that we've been using in Jasper when we became the first broadband internet provider outside of Calgary about 3 or 4 years before TELUS and Shaw did. We were using copper that's been in the ground for 30, 40 years. So copper, 60 years old, we're still able to use it as a conduit for DSL. Fiber tends to die out in currently, we understand, somewhere around 25 years. Some of the 20-year-old stuff that SuperNet tried to use actually isn't capable of carrying a SuperNet signal because it's falling apart. We don't have the same issue in copper. So when we started, for those of you who don't know what unloaded copper is, it's the additional copper that's in your office or house or warehouse or barn or wherever we ran in some telephone line. It's that extra pair of copper wire, just a telephone line that's not being used. If you punch that from your business or your house all the way through the wire system, through the TELUS wiring center, and then out to a location that's, say, the SuperNet POP site. If you had contiguous copper with no other services on it, and had it all punched down so it's nice and neat and tidy, and connecting those two locations, and then put DSL modems on either end of it. We have SDSL modems that will run 5 or 10 megabits per second bidirectionally at fiber speeds on copper that shouldn't exceed over 4 kilometers from one end to the other, which takes in pretty much all of the communities in Alberta. Okay? So we used to buy that service as a tariffed service from TELUS. When TELUS came to us with a wholesale offer, we took it because it was we took out our gear, we started using their gear and their infrastructure, and now we supply DSL services all over Alberta, BC through our good friends TELUS. Our bad friends at TELUS won't let us have unloaded copper anymore. They have said that we don't provide it. And we said, we don't agree with that. And we've been asking them now for 2 years to get access to that copper, and they haven't allowed us to have it. So what we did is we hired a couple of former TELUS regulator guys and filed what's known as a Part 7 application to force TELUS to give us access to unloaded copper. It is on this website, and we filed, TELUS responded, we filed our response, and we finished off on August 25th, and the CRTC has until, or they've told us that we've got until Christmas before we will hear back from them, but they will either decide on it for TELUS or for us. But we believe that all of the problems, 98% of the problems that we've heard about, access, ubiquity, speed, latency, all those things are solved by access to unloaded copper with us or other competitors like us installing inexpensive equipment with, Jeremy, a return on investment of all we need is 12 customers. When you say that we don't have a entrepreneurial drive or a return on investment, we make money in 12 customers in the smallest town in Alberta using SuperNet and unloaded copper. So the only other public statement that TELUS has made, because I feel we need to respond to it, is in the Venture magazine article that said this proposal just isn't workable. And of course it's workable. As I said, there are companies like us all over the United States using exactly what we're asking for from TELUS. There are companies in the Bell territories that are using exactly the same services we're looking for, using exactly the same kind of equipment that that TELUS uses. It apparently seems that in the articles and in the public relations notes that TELUS says is if they put it in, it works. If we put it in, it doesn't work. So total baloney as far as I'm concerned. One of the points that they made is we would actually have to degrade the cutting-edge services we are now offering customers. Oh, come on, give me a break. This is not something that we do that destroys other services or holds other services back. We, in fact, enhance those things. TELUS uses this last unloaded copper circuits for their new high-definition services and TV services. We want to do the same thing in 180 communities, for instance, around Alberta that don't have broadband. And we can have those 180 communities up, running within 12 months of when we get, or if we get CRTC approval. We can do it. It's not hard, it's straightforward, and it works like a darn. But it certainly doesn't doesn't damage any other services. Why would we as a business put in a service that we know damages TELUS's stuff? And TELUS's contracts are ironclad, and they're very tight, and I've signed a lot of them. And they say, you damage our equipment or interfere with the service, we cut you off. Why would we put ourselves in a position of signing up customers and then getting cut off because we do a bad job of installing? And the answer is, of course we wouldn't. That's silly. We are happy to wholesale bandwidth using our infrastructure. That was the point that TELUS made, is that use our service. But they don't have the services, for instance, in the 180 communities that we want to service. There is no service there. We want to put it in, and we can't, certainly using TELUS's non-existent infrastructure. Forget about this one. This is they happen to make a throwaway gesture that said the 600 million project, 600 millions in projects in, it seems to suggest Alberta. It's not really. It's BC, Alberta, Quebec, and Ontario. They're not spending $600 million in Alberta under this upgrade process, but they are upgrading their stuff to DSL 2+. Anyways, to wrap up, all I wanted to really say here is that we are continuing with our CRTC battle with TELUS. We hope that we win. We find it tragic that TELUS will not allow us to have access to unloaded copper, because we believe that if they gave us that access to unloaded copper, all the things that you've heard about today as obstacles now become projects and process. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Graham. I appreciate that.